What's up, fam? For getting this juicy episode for UFC 292. Few road dates for you. Covina, California. It's me and Brian the Kid, Mr. A.K. Rinks, A.K. Big Gay Al, are co-headlining for the first time in a hot second in Covina. That's one night only. Covina Laugh Factory. It's a great little theater out there in Covina. One of my favorite spots in a hot second. That's September 8th. That's a Friday. 2 shows only. Because Saturday, September 9th, we had to just take away because we're in Austin for the fight campaign for Izzy versus Strickland. So we will be with Mr. Joe Rogan on September 9th. But September 8th, it's going down. Me and Brian Callen, 2 shows only. That will sell out. Get your tickets right now. As you're listening to this, stop listening to me and go buy those tickets. Then in September, I'm also in Spokane, Washington, one of my favorite clubs, Spokane Comedy Club, September 21st through the 23rd. Skankfest, Vegas, September 29th through October 1st. Niagara Falls, New York. Those tickets go on sale this Friday. That's November 4th and 5th. That's a Friday and Saturday in New York, Niagara Falls. It's a casino out there, so definitely come out. Otherwise, they give the tickets to just random old people that gamble. And it's an awkward show. So fans, come on out. Niagara Falls Casino in New York, Niagara Falls. And then we also be announcing Chicago and Iowa for the rest of the year. So a bunch of dates on there, but I'll see you guys soon. Spokane, you're up first. All right. You waited all year, all freaking year. The time is finally arrived. Football is back. College football is back. My CU Buffs are going to run the table this year. It's all happening this Saturday. You got traditions, the tailgates, and the great offers from my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. You got USC playing this Saturday. You got a bunch of other big-name teams coming up. Your favorite team. Watch your team. Get the tailgate and make money with DraftKings. My CU Buffs are coming out the gate hot, baby. It's Deion Sanders. Kick off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use code SCHAUB, S-C-H-A-B, SHOW. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SCHAUB. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com Sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
What's poppin', fam? It is August 21st, Monday morning on this rainy drive into the studio here. I think it got downgraded from a tropical hurricane to just a tropical storm. But it's been raining here, man. It's weird because I went to the grocery store to pick up some stuff to grill for the fights. Dude, it was like, remind me back when the city was shut down for sick reasons. I have to talk like that so we don't get banned. But remember people storing up on like toilet paper and food? That's how it was at the grocery store again. I'm like, oh, dang. Some places were way worse than others. We didn't get it too bad. It was pouring so much water. I guess it goes under the road. When I pull out of my driveway, some of the road is gone, like floated down. Did you guys have any problems where you're at?
No.
Did you feel the earthquake?
Yes, big time.
I was at lunch with my father and mother-in-law and my whole fam, and it was like it lasted a while too. And there's a kid like probably 17, just like then the phones were going, and he's like looked at me. I was like, "What's bud? I gotta save these kids first, man. It ain't happening if this thing goes under." My son was like, "Dad," went under the table. I'm like, "Tight move, dude. You know what's going on, pussy." You know, like, come on, dude. Enjoy your lunch, man. But yeah, coming fresh off this hurricane. Hopefully everybody's okay out there. You had A big UFC fight night, UFC 292 in Boston. Went down, and it delivered in some ways, and in some ways it did not. The prelims were popping, bro. The prelims were popping, daddy. I mean, even all the way from Andre Petroski, Gerald Meerschaert was a good fight. Those two boys are jacked. And then it led right into the prelims on ESPN Plus with Brad Katona and Cody Gibson for the Ultimate Fighter strap. That was a great fight. People need to relax, saying it's Forrest Griffin and our boy, who's it, Forrest and Stephan Bonner. Come on, relax. It was good. It was a really fun fight. I thought Katona was screwed in that first round, but he came back and got it together. Cody Gibson, a little stiff. I'm not hating on anybody. With Kurt Hollabaugh and Austin Hubbard, he's a black belt. His transition was filthy from the armbar right into the triangle there. Filthy. Transition was filthy. Especially when I was watching, really with Cody Gibson, with his knees, he has the bad knees, how stiff he is. Even the Brad Katona with Kurt Hollabaugh, what do we do with him? That was my whole thing with this Ultimate Fighter. What do we do? At bantamweight with Brad, he's gonna be a top 10 guy. With Kurt, he's gonna be top. I don't know the reason or madness behind that season. And then you're not getting Conor McGregor or Chandler, which we'll get into. You're not getting that this year. Hopefully early next year. I don't know, but you're not getting that anytime soon. So it's like, what was this season for? It's just a weird thing. Brad Tavares, Chris Weidman. Tough one to watch.
Yeah, man.
You boys watch that in here? Of course. I text you guys during the prelims. I said, God, it sucks we're not doing a companion. Mm-hmm. We should have. I just didn't get on the ball there. But I also haven't had a night off from a big pay-per-view in a hot second. So it was nice to watch it, but I do miss doing the companion, especially when we have the right crew together. But Brad Tavares and Chris Weidman, Chris is 39. No one really comes back better after a leg injury like that. You had Spider came back, of course, but it was never the same. I don't think Conor's going to be the same. It's just dim the rules. It's just you snap your leg in two like that, you just never come back at full strength. Chris Weidman also has Father Time working against him at 39. I don't like that first comeback fight, which is a phenomenal story, and shout out Chris Weidman for even jumping into the octagon. But UFC matchmakers, Brad Tavares, that's his welcome party back. Brad Tavares, this savage vet who's fought everybody in the freaking middleweight division. Let him get his whistle wet, man. Let him get his beak wet before he toss him in there with these savages. Now, granted, Brad's fallen on some tough times, but he's only lost to really the best of the best. Izzy, Shabazian, especially at the time, Shabazian, Dricus Duplessis. Then he lost to Bruno Silva. And then beat Chris Weidman, but he has some big wins there. Beat Nate Marquardt, Lorenz Larkin. He's lost to the top guys, He's lost to the very top. Yoel Romero, Robert Whittaker, obviously Izzy. But he's just a tough night in the office for anybody. Ridiculous takedown defense. Great leg kicks, great striking. Handsome bastard. Handsome as all get out, right? Jesus Christ, dude. Am I right? That guy was hot. And his leg kicks were. It's just... I think there's such a respect there too with Brad Tavares. Early on, he's kind of like, all right, and there's the nut shots, which I think should be an automatic point deduction right away.
Those are bad, dude.
Those are so bad. Now it's a orthodox and southpaw issue. It doesn't matter. They should always take a point, I think, but that's never going to happen. They literally just kick each other in the nuts like 4 times each, whatever. But Brad showed too much respect, and then once that wore off, he's like, I'm going to destroy your legs. I'm literally just going to take out your goddamn legs. Oh, you only have one good wheel? Not anymore. And just royally screwed him, Just dismantled him. It's tough to watch, man. It's really, really tough to watch. 30-27, that's fair. I would hope Chris Weidman's done. Or I know Chris came back and was after the fight and was like, this isn't the end of my story. I want another one. They owe it to guys like Chris Weidman. Let him go out on his shield as far as give him a favorable matchup for where he's at. Tavares is not the guy. Tavares is still a dog, man. Give him a guy who 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Let him get a win. You owe it to him. Let him get a win. And then even Weidman was like, I think it's offensive they put me on the prelims. I agree with what he's done, former champ on the prelims. So that was a bummer to watch. But also, and we'll get to Conor too, I'm sure, in current events, Conor was tweeting about how inspirational it is at Chris Weidman. I think this actually hurt Conor's chances coming back too, because I think them seeing Weidman like, oh, this is not good. This is a liability. And the cameraman zooming into Chris's leg, like right before the fight, showing like the stitches. You're like, what the fuck is this, man? We're already thinking about it. Get out of here. But I think Chris Weidman, it's not that he had such a poor performance. It's just that you can see he's just hindered. It's a super liability. I think UFC's thinking of Conor, and listen, Brad Tavares is a monster. Has fought everybody toe-to-toe, monster. But Conor's on a different level. Conor ain't coming back fighting some, just regular contender or some guy out of the top 15. Conor's talking about fighting the top tip of the spear guys. So I think UFC seeing that going, oh, no, we need to pump the brakes on this a little bit. That's what we need to do. We can't have this. So I think it actually hurt Conor's chance to come back too. I think UFC was like, oh, my God, yeah, hold up. This ain't good. So I think that actually hurt Conor. And then kick off the main card. You got Marlon Cheeto Vera, our boy, Thick Boy alumni, versus Pedro Munoz. Cheeto got it done. Let's take a little break from talking all this Real Housewives of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, because I'm happy to announce we just partnered with my friends at Sheath Underwear. Bros, this underwear game out there is tough on the streets. You're wearing the tidy whities, you got streaks in there. Your girl, you're telling her to buy darker colors so you can't see the pee-pee stains in the front and the streaks in the back. Well, thank God for Sheath Underwear. It makes the most comfortable briefs I've ever worn. And I only wear briefs. I don't mess around with the boxers. I'm not a frat bro. I'm a dad. I wear briefs, dude. Every time you hear my voice, or if you're able to see my face, it would be obvious that I'm wearing a pair of Sheath boxer briefs. Their stretchy fabric is made of the moisture wicking technology that makes them super soft, all right? Just hugging your junk like a warm hug. Keeps everything cool, comfortable, and right in place, all right? Sheath is particularly useful for staying cool if you're working out in the summer days right now, but also keeps you warm, comfortable, in dry and cold environments as well. After trying Sheath, you can never go back to those old, tired brands, all right, that your grandpa used to wear. Particularly, I love the dual pouches that keep your man parts separated. It's a game changer. They shouldn't be tangling up down below. They shouldn't be grappling with your wiener. We don't want that. Sheath uses materials like bamboo and mesh for even more cooling comfort. We are sure they'll be the most comfortable underwear you ever put on your junk. Sheath also has bamboo shirts, hoodies, all designed for maximum comfort. That's what we do is comfort, baby, at Sheath. Go to sheathunderwear.com. That's SHEATH underwear.com. All right, use the promo code Schaub, SCHAB. You get 20% off the best underwear on the planet. That's sheathunderwear.com today. Use promo code Schaub, SCHAB. You get 20% off the best underwear of all time. Get rid of your dad's undies. Get into Sheath. This episode of the Shop Show for UFC 292 is brought to you by Shopify. If you could trade a bench warmer for a GOAT, you'd do it, right? Get your business a game-changing pickup by choosing the commerce platform with the internet's best converting checkout. That's Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of business worldwide. Whether you're a garage entrepreneur or IPO ready, Shopify is the only tool you need to start, run, and grow your business without the struggle. Shopify puts you in control of every sales channel. So whether you're selling satin sheets from Shopify's in-person POS system or offering organic olive oil on Shopify's all-in-one e-commerce platform, we got you covered. Sports, say less. Selling signed sneakers, all right, or offering official outfielders merch or UFC fighter shorts, whatever it is, you got it at Shopify. And once you've reached your audience, Shopify has the internet's best converting checkout to help you turn them from browsers to buyers. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is truly global force, powering Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklyn, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across over 170 countries. All right, this is a possibility powered by Shopify. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Schaub, SCHAB. That's lowercase Schaub, SCHAB. That's shopify.com/Schaub. Go to shopify.com/Schaub. Take your business to the next level today. I think Rogan and DC were a little off on the commentating there when they kept praising Pedro. He had high output, and they're like, Cheeto's slow start, it's tending to hurt him. And they kept alluding to that. But when Pedro, let's say, would land 3, really it was like 2-1 because Marlon actually outpaced him the second and third round. Or it matched him at least. It wasn't that big of a difference. But Pedro would throw 2 to 3 shots. Not many was landing. Cheeto would land 1 jab and bust up his face. So, again, I side with, and this after talking to Tom Cruise, who sat in with the judges' criteria where damage is most important. You watch that, you're like, yeah, Cheeto's win this fight. I thought Cheeto, 30-27, so 29-28, I can see how you give Pedro the first round, but definitely 29-28 across the board. 30-27, I'm cool with that. But I thought Cheeto easily won that fight. I mean, Pedro had a lot of output, which is good, but it's all about damage, significant strikes landed. Cheeto won that battle. That was kind of an easy night in the office for Cheeto. That's not, Pedro's a monster. He's fallen hard times, and he's won, 2 out of his last 8, if I'm mistaken?
Wow.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's lost 5 out of his last, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's lost 5 of his last 8. 1 being a no contest to Suga Sean. I still would have liked Suga Sean to get that win. But again, with Pedro, look who he's lost to. Aljo, Frankie, Jose Aldo, Aljamain Sterling, Dominic Cruz, then Cheeto. So, he's that guy. Like, to me, when people say gatekeeper, I don't think it is. I don't look at it as a negative thing. To me, a guy like Pedro would be a gatekeeper in order for you to crack into the top 10, in order to crack in the top 5. It's not a bad thing. It just means you're so good, you're so goddamn good, but you're not top 5 good. You're a gatekeeper to get to the title, run. Not a gatekeeper meaning if you deserve to be in the UFC. I think there's different tiers to being a gatekeeper. For Pedro to be a gatekeeper, if you can be Pedro, yeah, you're damn good. You're top 5, top 6, top 7 talent, top 8 talent. He's that guy. You want to crack in the top 8? Here's Pedro. Good luck. And he's a handful. He's good at everything. There's guys like that. So when people say gatekeeper, I think it can be negative, and they're like, well, no, in order to be gatekeeper means they're gatekeeper you being in the UFC. No. Pedro's fought the who's who. He has some huge wins. Jimmy Rivera, Cody Garbrandt, Brian Caraway, Rob Font. Like, he's beat some damn good guys. But I do think he's getting split decision with John Dotson, the magician, for God's sakes, who's starching everybody in bare knuckle now. But a gatekeeper mean you beat him in the top 10. He's a gatekeeper. You get into the elite guys. He's just a notch below the tip of the spear guys. That's what that means. But for Cheeto, I thought he looked really good in that fight. First, he always give me a slow starter. It's just what he is. So 3 rounds can kind of get dicey for him. After Suga's fight, he called out Cheeto. I think it was smart. I don't want to skip over the other, but in regards to Cheeto, so Cheeto's my boy. I hope Cheeto gets the fight. It does make sense. I can argue, whoever wants to debate this, why Merab should get the shot, why Corey Sandhagen should get the shot, and why Cheeto can't. It's up to the UFC. All 3 of them have a valid point why they should fight Suga for the title. You make a case for any of them. As far as who on paper, if it's black and white, take all the politics and all the hype out of it, who deserves it? Merab. Won 9 in a row. There's an argument, he's from the same camp as Aljo. There's a lot of that. Do I want to see that fight? Not next. If I'm the UFC, that's not next. You're not doing that one next. You're just not. Does he deserve it? Why? Because he's beat everybody, including Brad Katona, John Dotson, Cody Stamen, Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, and Peter Yan, and beat the brakes off everybody. Yeah, he deserves it. He really does. But it's just not. You can build the narrative of the revenge and the redemption to over Aljo. There's that, and we can get to that. But I don't think the UFC is going to do that. And people say, Suga's gotten Dana White privilege or UFC privilege. this happens in every sport. It's not a sugar thing, or a patty thing, but it's not it shouldn't be called Dana White privilege. It should just be called the star privilege. It happens in all sports. So with Suga, it's not that he had an easy run. In the UFC, especially, it's very black and white when it comes to mixed martial arts. Dana can only control so much. You have to perform, and they can't make you win fights. Especially if you're starching people like he's done. With the Peter Yan fight, that's a tough fight for Suga. Suga doesn't win that. We're not even having this conversation. So they can only, quote unquote, as they say online, protect him so much until he has to, do the work. But where the favoritism comes in, and rightfully so, remember, if you're a business, just think about it. Would you rather have Merab as your champion? Entertaining guy, no doubt. Entertaining guy, wrestler, pure wrestler. Striking's, whatever. But as far as wrestling goes, tenacity, endurance for days. Not the biggest crossover as far as pop culture and the Twitch and the streaming like a Suga. So think about it. Would you rather have Merab, Aljo, or Suga? If you had to pick the three, and you're a business owner, take your bias out of it. If you're from, Arizona, if you're from where Merab's from, if you're from Aljo in New York, take that away from it. Just as a business, you're looking at those three. Who would you want as your champion? It's Suga. He checks all boxes. He's fucking great in front of a camera. He's never been a camera he doesn't like. He has the young audience. He crosses over into pop culture. He's massive on social media. He's a striker. So you're going to get an entertaining fight. And what you want is entertainment. You want to put butts in the seats. That's what Suga does. So you're going to control as much as you can to make sure that guy is the face of the UFC. They can only do so much, and they've done it with a number of guys. But think about it. Anyone who wants to hate on that, it's a business at the end of the day. It's what sells tickets. So really the most clear one we've ever seen is Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, granted, has all the skills in the world. Oh my God, is that guy skilled as far as striking goes. So what is UFC going to do? Could they have made his route to the title tough? Fuck yeah, they could have made it a nightmare for that guy. An absolute nightmare in the middleweight division. A nightmare. But with his skill set and his story with Izzy, they're going to fast track him because it's good for the UFC. It makes sense for the UFC. It makes sense for the fans. There's a narrative there. It's going to put butts in seats. That's why they're doing that. So they literally catapult him straight to the top for good reason. You would do the same thing too if you ran the UFC. And now the guy comes over to again, they can only protect him so much. So do you want to go to light heavyweight? All right, dude. Well, we're not just going to give you, a Rakic or Krylov or Johnny Walker or Anthony Smith or Ozdemir or a Khalil Roundtree or even a Yuri for that matter, where it's just a perfect striking matchup where you have the advantage. We're going to give you Jan. The guy can grapple. He's big, former champ. It's going to be tough. If you get past him, we can work with you. But here you go, man. You got to earn this. You earned it. So again, they can only do so much. But if you do pass those tests, we're going Sizzler, Daddy. We're going Sizzler. So back to Cheeto, Merab, Aljo, that whole division. If I'm the UFC, Merab's not next. He's not. We can paint the picture there. Does it do good numbers? Yeah, it does good numbers. Does it do the same numbers as Cheeto? No. Does it do the same numbers as even a Corey Sandhagen? No. Does it do the numbers as a rematch with Aljo? No. So you can see which way the UFC is going to lean. And it's brilliant by Suga. This is what makes him a star. The guy's aware of his surroundings. He's aware of kind of predicting things that make things come to fruition. For him to get on and goes, where's Cheeto at? Did he win tonight? He goes, yeah, let me guess, boring. Mm-hmm. And to be fair too, if Suga is your champ, which he is, he does have that blemish of Cheeto on his record. You can call it what you want. I know, Suga's like, I never lost a fight, and he holds up the zeros. All good. Cheeto did beat him, man. Straight up with the leg kicks that compromised him. Like, you go back and watch that fight, Cheeto beat him. So if I'm Suga, I want that. It's the best matchup for you. Merab, again, just stylistically, is a tougher matchup than all those guys. So it's a more exciting matchup because Cheeto's going to, play that game of striking with him. He's a slow starter, and he is the one loss on your record. It makes a lot of sense. So it's brilliant by Suga. And also, this is where the favoritism comes in Because UFC's going to go, that makes a lot of sense. When you plant those seeds, UFC goes, that makes more sense. Because the Merab, that's going to happen, but let's not do it yet. We'll get to that. If I'm the UFC, I'm the exact same way. It's like Magomedov at light heavyweight. Not yet. We have so much more to do over here, and we can sell way more tickets by pairing these guys up first. It's just what it is. You can call it the Dana White privilege. No. It's the business privilege. You're good for marketing. You're good for tickets. You're good for eyeballs. You're good for pay-per-view. That's what it is. So the Dana White privilege isn't really a thing. It's more of the business privilege because you're good for business. That's Suga. He's great for business. Go back to the card chain for me. So there's a case for all those guys. But I do think Cheeto would be next. Take out my bias. Take out all my bias. And Suga Sean not calling out Cheeto. And I love Cheeto. I want him to get the title shot. There's argument Corey Sandhagen would have more of a shot at the title than Cheeto because don't forget Sandhagen just beat him. So there's people are gonna be upset no matter what. You give it to Cheeto, I'm like, wait, hold up. What about Merab? What about Corey Sandhagen? You just beat him. Dim the rules. Suga wants this guy. And also where Suga is different than Aljo is Suga was already had more power than Aljo. Even though Aljo was a champ, Suga still had more power and more fame, more fans. He just has that younger demo. He's better for business. He brings more eyeballs. He brings in more endorsement deals. So for Suga to go, I want to fight this guy, the UFC's going to listen. But this should be said too. I picked Aljo to win this fight. I straight up, I picked Aljo to win this fight. So what I go, Chin? I picked Aljo 0-for-1. I picked Weili. I predicted she was going to absolutely dominate. I didn't think she was going to whoop her ass this bad. This was like world star hip hop beatdown. Like, Jesus Christ, that girl has no skills, but she was just tough. It's never good when they go, man, is she tough? That's never a good sign. They should have stopped that fight probably. So I picked the ones I got right were Weili, Ian Machado Garry, Cheeto. I picked Chris Weidman, but we knew why I picked Chris Weidman, right? And then I picked Andre Petroski. Yep. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4 for 5. 4 for 6. Because don't get twisted. I did pick Chris Weidman beat Brad Tavares. That's just because if you bet against Chris Weidman that fight, you're a communist. But we'll go 4 for 6. Not terrible. With the Suga Sean Aljo fight, these things are always tough to, there's a reason why basically Aljo is a 3-1 favorite. Stylistically, we haven't seen Suga against a lot of grapplers, especially against a guy like Aljo. And Aljo, arguably the best bantamweight of all time. The thing you don't take into consideration when you do this stuff is it's Suga Sean's time. It just is. It's Suga Sean's time, and when you're betting on the guy to catch the grappler coming in, which he did brilliantly, very via Jose Aldo Connor. A little different because it wasn't a one-shot knockoff home run. He had to finish him on the ground. Argument for early stoppage, I guess. If you're a Suga hater, that you can argue that, but it would have just got worse. They could have let go on another 2-3 seconds, but he just kept punching him in the face. Aljo turtling up, not responding back. I'm not mad at it. Could argue. You're always a guy. What you thought it was early?
I thought it was early, yeah.
Again, I'm not arguing it's not early. I think it's early. I don't think it matters. That's my argument is, I agree with you, 100% early. Didn't matter, though. I think you just got beat up worse. All right, you can stop it.
You never know, though.
I agree. You never know. Look at Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar. Yeah. They could sure as hell could have stopped that thing. That's one of the worst beatings I've ever seen. Brock came back and won. I think also in championship fights, ear on the caution of letting it go longer.
Yeah,
there's so much on the line, dog.
All that lifetime of work to get there.
Your entire life changes if you become world champion. Always edge on the side of letting it go a little longer, and people going, you could have stopped that. Stop it early. But again, my argument here, early, agree. Doesn't matter. But you never know. Aljo could have, who knows what he would have done there.
Yeah.
Now we don't know. Go back to the card for me, Chin. Mm-hmm. So I do think, again, where I was going with this, I picked Aljo for a few reasons, but this is what I should have took more in consideration. I owe Brian Callen $2,000, but he owes me like 12 grand. He lost his ass on that Izzy fight. But anyway, again, you guys are gonna call it Dana White privilege. I don't call it that. I call it good business. Just think about this, and I'm not. This isn't a knock on Suga. This isn't making an excuse for Aljo. Aljo fought 6 months ago against Henry Cejudo. Said he didn't want to fight this soon. He fought 6 months later. Now, you heard Rogan allude to it go, he's great at cutting weight. He is very good at cutting weight. He's a big-ass bantamweight. Those weight cuts are a beast for him. So remember, he wanted more time because he said, I'm not 100%. The UFC forced him to take this fight in 6 months. He just fought. So he just fought. Coming off an injury, right? He's like, my shoulder's not great, my neck's not great. They forced him to take the fight in 6 months. Suga had a year off, knew he was going to fight Aljo, had a year to work on his takedown offense and prepare for Aljo. You know, again, it's not Dana White privilege. It's the UFC going, this guy's the next thing. This guy's the next thing. What can we do for him? That's what they're doing there. So for the odds were not stacked towards Aljo to thrive, if that makes sense. Remember, he did not want to fight this soon. The weight cut is a motherfucker for him, even though he's a professional, he gets it done. Injuries, short notice for him, one more time. Sugar's had a year preparing for Aljo, knew exactly who he's going to fight, knew exactly what style to prepare for. So there's again, that's not Dana White privilege, that's just business. If that makes sense. I'm not making excuses here. What Suga Sean did was insane. Insane, dude. It's just his time. It's his time. I tweet this out. Biggest star in the UFC. I think he stepped in. He's the UFC's biggest star. It's either him or Izzy. Izzy definitely has more credentials, cleared out the division, so Suga has more work to do. But Sugar has been a guy for a hot second where his fame was higher than his ranking, if that makes sense, until he beat Peter Yan. Paddy Pimblett's similar, where his fame, his notoriety is so much higher than his ranking. Now, Paddy didn't have the same skill set as Sugar. Sugar's always had that special sauce. So, but even then, his fame has been a little higher than his ranking. He beats Peter Yan, then it gets even. Now he takes out Aljo. His fame goes way up, but we know his skill set. We weren't aware of how fucking good Sugar was. And I think part of the problem too, for me, we always knew Sugar was good. We knew he was this talent. Saw him come off Dana White Contender Series. But he doesn't have a background like Alex Pierre, like a Jose Aldo, like some of these guys where you look like an Aljo with his wrestling credentials. There's nothing I can really hook on to and go, he's world class at this. But this is the new age. Suga Sean's world class at MMA. He doesn't have to have the 80cc jiu-jitsu wins. He doesn't have to have the glory world class kickboxing credentials. He's just good at MMA. So for me, I guess old school guy, I usually latch on that stuff. A Bo Nickel pedigree in wrestling, Izzy had a professional background. You look at these guys. Alex Pierre had a professional background. John Jones with his wrestling background. There's always something that I can hook into. With Suga, I didn't have anything. We saw him grow up before our eyes. Completely different person when we saw him on Dana White Contender Series to now. You knew he was special, but we just didn't know he was world class. Because it's tough to filter through all the shit on him because there's so much hype. Dana White Contender Series, there's Twitch, he's hanging out with Tekashi 6ix9ine, he's with the Nelk Boys. So you got to filter through all this. And when you get through all the bullshit, you realize, oh, we got a special one here. And he did it. He cemented that on Saturday night. My God, did he cement that? My God, insane. It's very, very Conor-ish, a very Conor-ish moment against Aldo. Not the same, because remember, Aldo was like undefeated for like 10 years, world-class striker. But Aldo, best bantamweight of all time, arguably. People always put Dom in there. It's either Dom or Aljo. There's argument for both gentlemen, but Aljo's the man right now. Aljo's more of a grappler, So what he did to him, and it was just something special, man. It was something special. Who do you think's a bigger star? Izzy or Suga?
I mean, right now, obviously, Suga, since it's so brand new, but
I still think Suga's massive.
Yeah,
he
but
was big before, like the Dana White Contender Series. They have Snoop Dogg blowing him up.
Yeah,
and then he does all this stuff, and then it seems like every move he makes works out. From like even the Cheeto loss, the Pedro Munoz no contest, nothing really gets the guy down. I think, and we're gonna get to Ian Machado Garry here, which I have a lot to speak about. What makes guys super special, what makes Conor the biggest star of all time, what makes Izzy, what makes John Jones John-ish, he might be a bad example, but what Suga, it's not an act. Sugar's been in here, we've been around Suga, such a good dude, but it's authentic. Like when he's talking that shit, it doesn't feel forced, it's not weird. It's almost like this. He's pictured this before. He knows what's going to happen with Conor. When we're not here to take part. We're here to take over. And he would the Mystic Mac and call his shots and all. There's something special about it. It doesn't seem forced. It's just Suga Sean when he talks shit. It's not mean. You know what I'm saying? It's not in these young kids, especially in Suga Sean's lane. You see what Dylan Dennis is doing and Jake Paul and Logan. They're savages, dude. The Ian Garry, I mean, there is no line that they don't cross. It's just a different world I don't come from. I don't co-sign any of this stuff. Suga doesn't play that game.
He did call Cheeto ugly, which is probably the only mean thing he's done. But.
Fair. All right. He's like, I don't like the way he dresses.
He's ugly.
But what he says, you're like, oh man,
Yeah. I think he really believes that though.
And you have to be at his level. There's this thing where it's authentic and we can feel it. We can smell it. You just when you see it, it's hard to put your finger on, but when you see it, you know it. Suga, we see it, we know it. When Patty says I'm gonna be the world champion, I don't know if I'm buying that yet. I'm just not. I'm not ready to buy it yet. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it inside the octagon. With Suga, I've seen it. We've seen it. Which leads me to Ian Machado Garry. The guy's getting a lot of negativity online, which I don't think he expected. I think it's a number of things. The guy is so talented. The guy is so goddamn good, so talented. Walks the walk in every facet. Did a like open workout at a pub in Boston the night before the fight. You know this? Like at night.
At night.
It was like, hey everybody, in the full set, in the full kit. Hey everybody, this is what we're gonna do. I'll do pictures after. You're like, dude, the night before the fight, savage. Checks every box. But I think the battle that he's fighting is he's Irish. Conor's Irish. Conor's his hero. And it seems to be a page out of Conor's book. And people that know Ian Machado Garry say, this is him, man. He's been like this since he was a kid. It's just what he is. But for some reason, and maybe it is him, but it just doesn't feel Conor-ish. But he's from the same area. He's a striker. He has that Conor aura about him, but it's just something's off with it. Something's off with it. And when he does it, it's straight up mean. Which you got to be a savage in there, which I get it, man, be a killer. But it just comes off as just kind of mean, which I don't like, and I don't think people like. And then also, remember, Conor, born, raised in Ireland, trained out of Ireland, SBG, stayed in Ireland in the height of his fame. Machado left. Machado doesn't train there anymore. So I think there's that. And then I also think that there's the Irish fan base and Americans feel like they can't, I think because he reminds us of Conor, because there's so many similarities, and Conor's hurt us so much, people are like, nope. There's something about where people are like, we don't need this again. I think there's, I can't put my finger up, but there's a few things where I think the fan base isn't ready to fall in love with Ian Machado Garry like they did Conor. Because Conor broke our hearts so many times. My heart, Casey's heart, he breaks my heart. He's my fave, bro. He's my fave, dude. I love Conor. He can do no wrong in my book. But when you look back on it, you're like, holy, this guy is an asshole, dude. I mean, just a horrible, horrible representation these days. But he changed the game forever. UFC does not get to where it's at today without Conor McGregor. That's never happened before. So he holds a special place in our hearts, but he's broken our hearts so many times that we're not ready for Ian Garry. I just don't think people are willing to open their hearts yet. We're too hurt. We're like the guy that got his heart broken by a Scorpio, and now another Scorpio comes like, nope, no, I don't do well with Scorpios. It's that's all it is. But he's the guy. He's your guy. He's gonna be around for a very long time. The kid is so goddamn good. He's so good. And we're chatting, because we're gonna do the companion. So I was chatting with the Thick Boy group chat there. And for Ian Machado Garry, for what I expect, I do think he's the next thing. I'm telling you, this kid is that goddamn good. He has all the talent. He's the next big thing. He's the next guy. He is it. I'm telling you, put that money in the bank. He's your next guy. If he's a stock, put your money on Ian Machado Garry. He's the guy. He's the fucking dude. That being said, what I think where he's going to get in his career, I need a big finish over Neil Magny. That's my only knock on him. And in this showcase fight, a Suga Sean card, Aljo, there's two basic main events, 2 title fights above you. You're leading into that. We got to get a finish. Let's take another little break here, kids. We got to keep the house lights on and pay the boys in the studio. This episode of the Schaub Show is brought to you by the one, the only Happy Hippo. It's one of the only products I use for every single thing I do. Working out, being a dad, going to stand-up, going to podcasting, whatever it is, your boys on that Happy Hippo. They have Kratom Dips, the first ever to market. Right, you're listening right now. You're like, how is he breaking down Ian Machado Garry like this? How did he think of Ian Machado Garry versus Schaub? This is insane. I can't take all the credit. It's powered by Happy Hippo. That's right. However you want to get your Happy Hippo, they got powders. They got freaking gummies. They have the instant shots. I drink the sour apple right before I go on air. They got the K-Dips. They got it all. It's the only place you can trust in this wild world that they live in. Happy Hippo is somebody you can trust, man. It gets my brain turbocharged. Go to happyhippo.com. Promo code is Thiccc23. You get the best kratom on the planet. All you got to do is go to happyhippo.com. Promo code is Thick with 3 C's, 23. You get 20% off the entire site for life. Share it with your friend, your family member, your sister, your therapist, your UPS driver, your Uber driver. That's happyhippo.com. Promo code is Thick23 for 20% off the entire site. Gummies, shots, the K-Dips. We got it all. The powders, we got it all. Happyhippo.com. Promo code Thick23. Now let's get back to the program. Now he might say, well, no. And he did say this. He goes, no. It showed poise. It showed experience. I didn't go in there and get all wild and try to get them out there. I was just dismantling. I mean, though the 30-24s, yeah, I agree. If it could be 30-12, I'm with those. That was a massacre. I need a finish. I need a highlight finish. I need something that just builds the hype, because 3 rounds are just dismantling Neil Magny, who took it on 2-week notice. That's not where I think he's going to get. That doesn't do it. You look at all the other guys. You look at all the other guys who got to where I think Ian Machado Garry's going to get. They destroy guys. Not just with leg kicks and let them hang around. They find a way to get it done. I do think Ian Garry felt that pressure. That's why at the end, that fight's 30 more seconds, he gets a submission win. Cool. That's what I needed. So he knew. And he was like, I was just punishing him. I was just trying to, show him the difference. And that's a fun narrative. But I know he was trying to get him out of there. He kudos to Neil Magny. That's how fucking tough Neil Magny is. Neil's a very tough fight for anybody. And he made him look amateur, man. That fight wasn't close. So Ian Garry's stock doesn't go down. Again, just where I know he's going, I need a finish there. I could be, a tough one to please. You're nitpicking here. He absolutely destroyed Neil Magny, who's ranked 11, who's ranked above him, who's fought everybody in the division, who's beat good guys. But for Ian Garry to go where I know he wants to go and where he's going, we got to get a highlight finish. Can't just be destroying leg kicks and it goes 3 rounds. That's not going to get you where you want to go. Because how many fights do you have in the UFC? Click on him, Chin. I'll tell you what I think's next for him, too. So this cat's undefeated. His first fight in the UFC, he's had 2, this is 3rd decision. First fight, KO. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now click on Conor for me.
Conor McGregor?
Yep. I'm just showing the comparison here where he's going to go. So,
Here.
so yeah, here you go. So Conor's first 6 fights. So very similar to Gary, his first fight, he had a KO, right? But Conor did in a minute. Then he had a decision over Max Holloway, which looking back on it was insane. And then after that, he goes KO over Dustin Poirier, KO over Dennis Siver. That was in Boston in the second round, performance of the night. Then he had the KO of Chad Mendes. Then he had the legendary KO over Jose Aldo. So go back down, Chin, where Ian Machado Garry is in his career and where Conor was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just a different time now. The division is way more deeper, so you can't compare it. But on his 6th fight in the UFC, he fought Chad Mendes on short notice and won the featherweight championship of the world with a knockout. Before that, in Boston, very similar, same arena, he dismantled Dennis Siver with a TKO. Before that, he dismantled Dustin Poirier with a TKO. It's those moments, you know. It's those moments that we need. I needed that out of Gary. That's it. That's my only knock on the guy. I mean, if there's any criticism, which there's not much, the guy's face wasn't touched against Neil Magny. I do like it that we didn't. The other thing, we didn't find out much about Ian Gary in that fight either. We knew. I know how good I think he is. It wasn't even a fight, dude, against Neil Magny, number 11 guy in the world. So even that, I know I'm being hard on, but even that's like, Neil Magny is a savage. That fight wasn't competitive, dude, in any facet. That's how good Ian Machado Garry is. I'm telling you, you guys need to be all in on Ian Machado Garry. Now, his antics outside, it's just, I can't put my finger, I don't know what it is. It's rubbing people the wrong way. But because we say be authentic. From what I hear, people around Ireland who know him, Machado Garry, like, he's always been like this. He's always been like Thiccc Carroll. I love that guy. He's a journalist out there in Dublin. He's known forever. He goes, since his first fight, been around the guy. He's talking about he's been a world champion. It's just the way he talks. So if that's his authentic truth, if that's him being Ian, you got to do it. You can't change for anybody. So if it's him, keep doing it. Him flipping off Neil, and Neil's a good dude. Now Neil hits his kids. I don't condone that.
Did you hear what he actually said, though?
I did. I'm with Ian on this.
Here it is. That's this actual statement here.
There's a whooping that you give your son now to kind of teach him a life a little bit. Being a father, I've become quite accustomed to that kind of whooping now, and that's what I'm looking forward to giving on Saturday. I'm with Ian on this. I don't co-sign this. I mean, just do some research, man. There's extensive studies saying hitting your kids does nothing. It's 2023, man. That information's available. You don't need to hit your kid.
Also, could have just been sloppy trash talk.
That's what I was thinking. I think he's doing that.
You think it's sloppy trash talk?
Yeah.
I don't think he's taking the shit out of his kid.
He wanted to say he wants.
No, Neil's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
I've known Neil for a hot second before he's in the UFC. Neil's such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. He's such a good person. So I don't think he's beating his kid in any regard. Also, Neil isn't the best trash talker. It's just not what he does. He's just not. He's too nice. I nicknamed him the Gazelle. He was nicknamed the Gazelle for about, 10 years. And all of a sudden he's the Nigerian Nightmare. Nobody's buying that, dude. You're too nice to be the Nightmare. So I think for Neil, you might be right. Could just be sloppy trash talk. He's also not a trash talker. It's just not what he does. The Haitian sensation. Okay, no, you're the Gazelle, dude. You're the Gazelle because he's so nice, great endurance, elusive, not scared of him, but he'll keep you busy. That's him, dude. But it could be just sloppy trash talk because that's not his realm. He's like, beat you like I beat my kid. Fuck. And then, of course, Ian Machado Garry, who's pretty savvy at trash talk, was like, "You do what?" He's like, "No, oh, no." Yeah. But even then, you think Ian would realize that. But even after the fight, Ian's still not cool with him, man.
Yeah, it was like, it didn't seem real. That's why it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
But for anybody who knows Ian, says that's him.
The multiple times, even after he won, flipping him off.
I know.
It was a little odd.
And this is my only message, but this is where I'm confused. If that's Ian Machado Garry, if that's him, you have to live your truth. Like, keep doing that, dude. And eventually you just keep winning. People are going to either be on board or up. Either way, they're going to tune in to watch you win or lose. That's what we want. When people don't care, it's a nightmare. We can't use you. As long as people have some, it's the Floyd Mayweather, it's the Conor McGregor. Even for comics, don't take us on the road. People are going to hate you, people love you. But when you're in the middle, ain't nobody buying a ticket and getting a babysitter to watch the guy who plays it safe. Never. You got to be pretty extreme. So for Ian, I guess keep doing your thing. My thing is, if that is truth, keep doing your thing. If it's not, we don't need it, dude. Your skills are so goddamn good. We don't need it. Izzy didn't have to do this stuff. Obviously, Izzy shit talk now and do his stuff. You don't have to do this. We don't need it. We don't need it. The flipping off, all that stuff. If it was a different opponent and there was like some really bad blood there, but on a 2-week notice, dude, we don't need that, man. I don't need it out of Ian Garry. But also, Ian's young. Was he 25?
Yeah.
These young kids, that's what they do. I'm just saying his skill set's so fucking good. Now, he called out Wonder Boy, a 4-year-old Wonder Boy. I know he's a striker, so that ain't even Wonder Boy's like, no, dude, hell no, I ain't fighting this young buck. Yeah, it's your goddamn mind. I'm fighting Kamaru Usman, another older fella over here. So I don't think that's happened for Ian. But if Ian likes to, talk trash, Wonder Boy ain't the one to do it to. He's beloved, man.
Another super nice guy.
He's such a nice guy. Yeah. He's just, and I'm sure Ian would come up with something. But even when Ian was going to fight Homeboy, who was he supposed to fight? And took his mugshot out?
Oh, Jeff Neal.
Jeff Neal.
Yeah,
it's like,
that was
God,
messed up.
Dog. Yeah. Oh my God. These guys are savages. Ian just doesn't need to do it. But if you're his manager going, people are talking about him. People are tuning to watch him fight. He's selling merch. UFC likes it. I just don't think we need it. I'm also 40.
But he's so good to watch. So yeah, he doesn't.
Oh my God, he's good. Now what's next for him? Wonder Boy ain't happening. Wonder Boy's gonna fight Kamaru. He's 40. Be cool. Schaub.
Damn.
Let that sink in.
I mean, that'd be amazing, but that's like 2 rising stars.
That's what we
right
do, baby. That's what we do.
I mean, I want to see it, of course.
But also, Schaub could get, because Ian Gary's a bigger name than Schaub.
Yeah, for sure.
But bigger name amongst the masses. And the thing, this is what you do with Ian Garry. He's so good that the number 11 guy, I know is short notice, I don't care. Neil Magny has cardio for days, so that's not an excuse. He outmastered Neil Magny. I mean, you're talking, it looked like an amateur. That's Neil Magny, who's ranked number 11. He's been there with everybody. He made him look amateur. So you just can't toss him Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, Neil. He could go back to the Neil fight, but I'm one of those guys, when the fight falls out like that, I'm good. Nah, I don't want to see it. I already had it in my mind how I was going to go. I'm good. Wonderboy Thompson's 40, can't do it. So you can't really do like the guys 12. You could do Kevin Holland. I'd be into that. Mm-hmm. I'm into that Kevin Holland fight.
He's got a match already though.
That'd be a fun. I know, a fun fight. But take Kevin Holland. But 11 through 7, when you outclass the number 11 guy in the world like that, we got to go up. We got to go up. We got to, and he's on the fast track. He's that skilled too. We got to go up. I think you do Schaub.
Damn.
Not a fight night. That's a co-main event on a pay-per-view in December. And if Suga's fighting Cheeto, that's your co-main event because that's your next star. Schaub's not your next. Schaub's not your next massive star. Ian Gary's your next star. Now, skill-wise, I don't know. Schaub's fucking good. Mm-hmm. He's good. He's so good. But if Ian Garry beats that, we're going Sizzler, dude. Kevin Holland would be a fun fight. There's also a guy number 14. He has a matchup, but Jack Della
Maddalena.
Yeah.
Who's fighting Kevin?
Who's fighting Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
So you could do the winner of JDM versus Kevin Holland against Ian Gary. But again, Ian's, I know he beat the 11 guy. He just didn't beat him. It's 30-24, 30-10 for God's sakes. You got to jump up in competition. He's surpassed those guys. He was here 15 through 10. You pass that test so well. All right, we got to go up. That's where he's at. That's how good this kid is. I know the UFC sees that. And UFC, and I think UFC hopefully goes back to Dublin. So if you beat Shavkat, then you're talking about a top 5 guy, and you do that in Dublin, main card. The winner of Kevin Holland, JDM would be a fun one, but I think Ian's a step ahead of those guys as far as where his career's headed. Go to Shavkat's record for me, Jen. Who would you guys have in Shavkat, Ian? Isn't that a great fight?
Yeah, it's actually amazing. But I think Shavkat right now.
He took out Neil. He got a finish over Neil.
Both Neils.
Both Neils. I think Ian beats him, dude.
That's why it's a great fight, because I don't know, but I would lean towards Shavkat.
You would?
Yeah, lean.
We got to bet if they fight.
Yeah.
I'll take Ian in that fight. I think first, second round KO. Especially after seeing Shavkat versus Neil. Jeff Neal. The other, obviously, I was saying I wanted to finish out of Ian Gary against Neil Magny. Neil Magny was compromised and wasn't coming forward in any facet. It's tough to finish a guy when he's turtling up like that. So it's very tough to finish a guy who's not playing the game.
Oh,
it's very tough to finish because he was just his leg and his hands are up, like he's kind of shelling on his feet. It's no different than a guy when he shells up on the ground. He had one foot up and he's just like this against cage, not engaging, not risking anything, so it doesn't open up counters or anything. So, there's that too for Ian Gary. Yeah, all in on Ian Gary. It's just that he doesn't need to do this mean stuff.
yeah.
Especially against the good guys. If you fight a nasty guy, fire away. When you're fighting a guy like Neil Magny who fucked up and said he beats his kid, he was like, oh, no, oh, man.
And the way that Ian was going after him, like he was like, it went overboard. Like it felt a little fake.
What do you mean?
Me.
When?
He's about I would never. Kids are this and that. You never.
Oh, did you see? Did you see his vlog? He's like, oh, did you see that? I'm like, oh, Neil fucked up.
But
but again, that's what these young kids, these 25-year-olds, they get anything.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, it's this overreaction and let's get them. It's just, and that's the internet in general. Get them. It's like, oh man, Neil, He's like, no, I don't beat my, oh man.
He just wanted to say
now he's known as
whoop
beating
his ass.
kid. Yeah, I'm gonna whoop your ass like whip my kid's
he just
ass.
wanted
Just
to say
mean
whoop
like
your ass.
it's gonna be that easy because he's a kid.
Then
But then Gary's like, you said what? And he's like, no, I don't mean like real. Damn.
Yeah.
And now Neil's known as a kid beater. Ain't that a bitch? Yeah, he Machado Garry, real deal, man. Waylay versus Amanda Lemos. I mean, just it was a night full of. I was texting you guys during the fight. It wasn't the best card we've seen, for a variety of reasons. Because you had the decision with Cheeto. But before that, you had just this cringy, like one eye open, Chris Weidman trying to make sure his leg doesn't fall off against Brad Tavares, goes decision, like, oh my God, this is terrible. Then you get a decision with Cheeto, and then the Blackshear, who I thought got robbed. I had Blackshear win that fight. Shout out to Blackshear. And then Ian Machado Garry, the Neil Magny, that's another one where you're like, God, throwing the towel. That was one of those. And then you get Zhang Weili just beating the shit out of Amanda Lemos. I mean, just. Not even the same class, dude. So it was almost like you had a bunch of weird mismatches, but they couldn't finish them. Besides Cheeto and Pedro, then you had Bautista and Blackshear. Those were good, right? Those competitive fights, even though Blackshear got screwed over. But Chris Weidman outclassed, right, in that fight. It was tough to watch. Neil Magny outclassed on one leg. Amanda Lemos outclassed. Just complete beatdowns that wouldn't stop. Just wouldn't. It's like watching an ISIS beheading, but it's 15 minutes long. You're like, oh God, just stop this goddamn thing. You can't fast forward. So it's just these massacres, just these mismatches. So Weili just beat the shit out of her. Now I'll tell you what, Weili ain't doing that to our girl, Tatiana Suarez. Tell you right now. Talk about the hype train stopper. I think Suarez has something to say about it. The only issue for Suarez, for Tatiana there, is going to be the striking. Weili hits like a Mack truck. She puts some combinations together. Grappling, Weili ain't hearing a peep out of Tatiana. Tatiana ain't going to bully that girl. Tatiana beats her.
Whoa. Well,
I would be one to say, Tatiana beats the shit out of her chick.
Beats the shit out of her?
Manhandles her. Throws her around.
Oh, that's another bet then.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'll bet that all day.
I mean, I definitely
the
think
only
Tatiana's
issue
gonna
would
win.
be the grappling. I'm not worried in any facet. I think when it comes to the ground game, Tatiana's going to straight up Khabib her, bully her. You've never seen her get manhandled like that. You see what she's done to some of these other contenders who are known to be strong, and she's just playing, just toying with them. She'd do the same to Weili. But the striking's where I get, if you are a Tatiana fan, that gets a little dicey. Her striking's not great. Weili hits like a Mack truck, puts combinations together. The leg kicks could be an issue, but once it goes to the ground, which it will, good night, sweet prince. You know what I'm saying? Covina's finest beat the shit out of Zhang Weili.
Oh, she's from Covina?
Yep.
Wow.
And there's September 8th, Brian Callen. Me and Brian Callen back for the first time.
Hell yeah.
Only Friday night. Saturday, we're supposed to be in Austin.
Supposed to.
What do you got, Chin?
You touched on this a little bit with Chris Weidman. You said he deserves at least one more, fight before he retires.
Favorable fight.
Favorable fight, yeah. But Dana White, it was pleading basically at the post-fight press conference, pleading with him to retire. He says he loves him, and he says now he has like another, some sort of CL surgery or CL injury. MCL or ACL.
Oh, on the other leg, though?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm with Dana on this.
So it's going to be another year.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just call it a night. I thought he was okay. Just had some swelling. But hopefully I heal my legs and get one more in a favorable matchup, and that's it. But if you have to have another knee surgery,
he's going to be out for so long.
Shut down shop here.
Yeah, it sucks for Chris.
I'm with Dana on this.
But Chris wants to come back. So we're in the headlines. I don't know how realistic this is, but Sean O'Malley did call out Gervonta. He wants to have a boxing match with Gervonta Davis. And since, the UFC was able to do McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, he says there's a possibility.
That's never happened. No, it's not. It's never happening again. No, the UFC's, they're never going to, and they have rules in place and structures in place in the contracts where you're never going to see another Conor again to have that much power and be able to, fight a Floyd Mayweather. The UFC's never going to let that happen again, nor do they need to business-wise. Mm-hmm. Now they've structured the business where they don't want that to happen. But speaking of Gervonta Davis and Suga, terrible fight for Suga. It's silly. But this is what happens. This is the product that the UFC built. This wouldn't happen if Suga Sean was paid like Gervonta Davis. This wouldn't happen if Francis was paid like a Tyson Fury. This wouldn't happen if Nate Diaz was paid like a Jake Paul. The reason why these guys get to the highest level of the UFC and then they call out boxers, they're not going to beat any of these guys. Name one UFC guy that's beat a boxer. I'll wait.
Just inside the UFC, James Toney, but that's it.
He got his ass whooped.
I don't.
Name one UFC guy that's beat a boxer in boxing outside the UFC. It's never going to happen. It's just not. It's not it's a different language. They might as well compete in swimming. It's just, I know both combat sports, it doesn't matter. You're talking about apples and oranges. It's never going to happen. You should be more mad at the reason that the UFC fighters aren't compensated like the big name boxers. Now, the argument there is, in general, from number 1 to 500, UFC fighters are paid significantly more than boxers. The 1%, the 0.1% of boxing is compensated tremendously. But those are the guys that so you go, well, these guys make all the money, but the UFC doesn't. It's a different business model. On those undercards of the boxing, those guys are making like $500. World champions are making like $2,000. No, but they don't have a following, so no one speaks up for them. The Tank Davises of the world, Deontay Wilders, the Tyson Furies, Anthony Joshuas, the Charlo brothers, the Canelos of the world. You can name about the Terrence Bud Crawfords, the Earl Spence. You can name probably, if you're into boxing, 15 guys who make real that outlier money. In the UFC, I can name 100 guys who make a damn good living. It's just a different model. But they're not making the type of money that a Gervonta Davis is making, that a Tyson Fury is making. So that's why they're calling these guys out. It's a product of the pay scale. It's a shame they feel they have to do this to get compensated. Because don't get me wrong, Sugar's making a shit ton of money, but he's not making Canelo money. But remember, Canelo it'd be like if Dana was an active world champion fighter and owned the UFC and just took all the money. That's basically what Canelo is. He's the promoter, he's the owner, and he's the best in the world. So of course he gets the lion's share. And then they don't have to pay the undercard. So because of their pay scale, because this is the business they went in, the direction they went in, now everyone gets to the top, they're calling out the boxers. Everyone wants to be Conor because he changed it forever. But not only did Conor change it forever, he changed it so much, UFC's never going to allow that to happen again. It's never happened again. They gave Conor too much power. He had too much of the lion's share, and the UFC went, ooh, we messed up. Good and bad. They sold the company for $2 billion, but they're never going to allow that to happen again. $4 billion. Yeah. They're never going to allow it to happen again. So I see this stuff. I'm like, part of me is like, oh, God damn it, Sugar. But also, that's what these guys do. They get to the very top, and they call these guys out. You're never going to see it. Nor is the UFC going to entertain it. It's because it's not good. When Conor did that, he already had his run. We already had our good time with him. When he did that, I was like, okay, we'll entertain this. Never been done before. Sugar's young. What is Sugar, 28?
Yeah, 28.
You think the UFC is going to say, hey, this is one of the most best strikers in our world, and you think they want him to get embarrassed by Tank Davis? He would get embarrassed. I love Sugar. And now Tank would get embarrassed in the UFC. Mm-hmm. As much as Sugar would embarrass Tank in the UFC, Tank would embarrass him in boxing. It's not a knock on Sugar, it's not a knock on Tank. You're talking about two different things. They might as well play basketball. It'd be more competitive if they play basketball. I think Sugar beats the shit out of him.
He's so tall.
Yeah, he's so tall, and I think he actually plays.
Yeah.
But the comparison's silly. The UFC would never allow that to happen. Same way they didn't want Francis fighting Tyson. You want the guy who's the face, the best knockout artist of all time, to get dismantled in a minute? Now, can Francis land something? Yes. Could Sugar land something? Yes. The chances that happen are not good. It's all these guys do. Mm-hmm. Boxers have a better chance of winning in the UFC than UFC fighters do in boxing. Because boxers can land that special punch with MMA gloves on. MMA fighters get hit. Boxers at the highest level, you don't see them get hit a lot, do you? They're pretty fucking good at it. Boxers have a chance to land in MMA. MMA really, their chance of landing is not good in boxing. It's all those guys do. And all they have to worry about is your hands. They've seen it all. They've seen every big right hand, big left hook, uppercut, speed, jabs, southpaw, different angles, awkward guys. They have hundreds and hundreds of matches before they even get to the highest level. MMA's not like that. It's just not. So yeah, I see that stuff. I'm like, oof, that's the world we live in.
I guess it'll never happen.
Now, can Sugar, well, I'm not going to say it never happens, but it's never going to happen in the UFC. Mm-hmm. Now, 5 years from now, after Sugar has this long reign, 6 years from now, he's whatever 10 title defenses, he's the face of it. He's getting a little weathered. And his last fight in his contract, and he's like, hey, I want to fight Gervonta. The UFC goes, no. He goes, all right, I'm out. Does what Nate Diaz does. Goes out and he fights Tank. Do you want to watch it then? I don't know. They're both going to be older.
All right.
But that's the world we live in.
Yeah. So Jake Paul did a podcast recently, and then he said that the pay-per-view buys for him versus Nate was around 500,000, which is good. And then it also broke.
First of all, that's tremendous.
It
good. Broke. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I mean, once again, we don't know the facts, right? But also, so it had, I think he said it was the actual gate record, but it's like second place behind the UFC gate record for American.
So according to Paul, the event was a huge success from a financial perspective. It's looking like 500K plus pay-per-views, biggest gate in US, and that's US pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. So it means more because it costs more in the US. So massive numbers, massive success. There's statistics that show the Google search from that night. We were number one most searched Google trend by 10 times, trending everywhere. Biggest gate, biggest ticket sales, biggest sponsorship, I believe. Mm-hmm. Biggest gate, yeah, that's tough. Because Canelo also fought in that Dallas arena.
Well, so
And the UFC fought there,
So
too.
this is what I saw for the records there. Second highest recorded gate for a combat sports event at that particular venue, and it only surpassed by UFC 277, which is weird because that's Nunes versus gosh dang it, Nunes versus Pena 2.
Yeah, it's not a big one.
Yeah, but that's from the Dallas News.
It's still pretty. Even if
No, I'm already surprised.
even second's insane. So at $59.99 pay-per-view price point in the US, this means the event generated just under $30 million without even considering ticket sales and sponsorship. Those boys got paid.
Yeah.
Huge success. If I'm Jake, you know who I fight next? Ready for this? Robby Lawler. Forget the boxing world, dude. Keep beating up MMA guys with these huge fan bases, making all the money. Keep taking out these great strikers in the UFC. Who cares about getting validated from boxing? They're never going to accept you, ever. If you beat Canelo, be like, Canelo didn't take him. Dude, that's never happening. Keep making your money, bro, and getting these huge fights against these ex-UFC guys who have huge fan bases because the MMA community is buying this stuff. We're a pay-per-view model. We like buying pay-per-views. We support our guys. Everyone loves Robby Lawler. Everyone loves Nate Diaz. People love Woodley. Keep doing that. People love Anderson Silva. Keep doing that. Get your money. Keep beating up these non-boxers, these great strikers. Keep doing that. I don't get who gives a shit about the internet. Keep putting out the dope videos. You beat up Robby Lawler. Robby Lawler do that for a huge payday. 15 mil for Robby Lawler?
Damn. I don't know how well that would do though. What do you think?
It's Jake. You could build that easily. Robby Lawler, UFC Hall of Famer, former world champion,
Bunch of highlights, but you can't really show them. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it would do though.
former world champion. Nate Diaz wasn't a champion. Robby Lawler's champion, dog.
He was.
Now he's obviously don't have the fame as Nate. It's a good story there. Keep doing that.
And that'd be great for Robby.
And that's why we should support it. I don't care how you feel about Jake Paul. Name another organization, another fight Robby could take where he's going to make, let's say he only makes $5 million, which is low for a Jake Paul fight. Let's say he made $5 million. Name another organization, another fight, Robby Lawler, or insert whatever MMA legend name you want where they can get paid that amount of money for boxing Jake Paul. There's no other place on the planet. That's why you should celebrate what Jake's doing. Keep that same energy. I've told you guys this. Keep that same. You want to hate on Dana, hate on the UFC for not paying their guys their worth? Jake's paying them their worth, but you guys hate on it. You got to pick a side. Which one do you like here? Name another fight Nate Diaz could take where he'll make $15 million or $20 million. Conor McGregor, nope. He ain't making that much. And it's also easier fight for him. Even if they lose, it's an easier fight. A boxing camp is way easier than getting ready for an MMA fight in the UFC. It just is. You only have to worry about hands. You don't have to grapple. You don't have to fucking worry about kicks, elbows, the ground game. There's none of that stuff. Just boxing. It's also easier on these older guys. So you should be celebrating whoever Jake picks. You should be telling Jake, hey, fight Robby, fight this guy, the next older UFC Hall of Famer. We want this for these guys because they're getting this is their 401k. This is their redemption to getting screwed over by the UFC for all those years in the pay. Nobody else is offering that money. You guys should be celebrating that Jake's created this path for your favorite UFC fighter. Nobody else is doing it, guys. Despite how you feel about Jake, I don't care about your feelings about him. What he's doing, nobody else is doing for your favorite fighters. What do you got, Jen?
All right, so this is a quick story about Colby Covington saying that John Jones, he went to the people behind the scenes, UFC brass, to not have Colby Covington on the same card as him because he's fearful of all the stuff, like especially during the press conference and all that stuff, all the, because he's been with them since like what, college days?
Yeah, they're roommates.
He has a lot of dirt on him. He's like afraid that it's gonna come out. So he said that this is what is a legit thing, and I think John Anik even said like he takes Colby at his word for it.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because Colby says a lot of things.
Dude.
Throws a lot of mud at the wall.
Yeah.
But maybe there's something there.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And apparently it worked. He's not going to fight on the same card.
That's a bummer.
I know. Against
Because
Leon.
Colby versus Leon would be great as a
Yeah.
co-main event.
We talked about this one already. But so this is going to be Jack Della Maddalena versus Kevin Holland at Noche UFC, which is like the Mexican Independence Day.
Now, who's the main event on
Co-headliner.
there? Do we know the main
It
event?
was Alexa Grasso, Shevchenko, I believe.
That's a great fight.
Yeah.
I see winner of that getting homeboy. Ponzinibbio, Daniel Rodriguez, a great fight. Our girl Tracy Cortez is fighting. Cynthia Calvillo.
Yep.
That's a fun one. All right.
All right. And here's another announcement.
This
Mackenzie
one's interesting
Dern.
to me when I saw that. I'm like, ooh.
Mackenzie Dern versus Jessica Andrade, UFC 295. She looks really good here.
She always looks good.
I know.
Going for her. Jessica Andrade, she's fallen some tough
She is, yeah.
She's lost to the only tip of the spear people. I'm surprised she's jumping right back in there. Hopefully Mackenzie can get it done.
This one also is interesting. Chase Hooper versus the Sugar Tank dude, Jordan Levitt.
Sweet and low?
Jordan Levitt, yeah.
I like that guy. I like
Yeah,
Jordan.
I follow him. He's entertaining.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Seems like, but they're both good people. Yeah, I
a
root
great
for
matchup.
I root for Jordan. Yeah, that is a fun matchup.
Let's see here. Oh, so this one's just for some reason, James Krause, he was still on the UFC roster for this long time, and I guess he just barely got removed. And then people are wondering why it took a year for him to be removed, but yeah, he is being investigated by the FBI. And then, yeah, so who knows what's going to happen with him, but he's now removed from the roster.
It's weird they wait so long.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's touch on this real quick. Jake Paul says that UFC should increase their minimum wage for UFC fighters to $50K.
That'd be dope.
I mean, and it's doable, right?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But why would you do it?
I know.
UFC. Also, the other parlay to that is, I mean, I think guys it'd be great if they did get paid more, but also the UFC has the issue of when guys get fat and happy, similar to baseball players. Notice baseball players when they get paid aren't very good anymore. With UFC, there's a few outliers, but you look at Conor McGregor's a certain guy, although Izzy's different, John's different, but like Conor McGregor has all the money in the world. It's tough, man, for fighters when they come from nothing. They have all this money. They just don't have the same grit, So Dana likes to keep them hungry.
I get it to a certain extent.
Just saying that out loud is so effed up.
I know.
So effed
But
up.
it makes sense, though, obviously. If you're 300 mil.
Like running backs when they get paid, then they'll kind of like not run.
They don't run as tough, yeah. Baseball's the worst. I've gotten really in baseball lately, but see guys get paid, and it's just don't get me wrong. There's a few outliers, but once they get and it's also in baseball, it's guaranteed. So they get this whatever $300 million guaranteed. They're like, what happened? They're like, I don't want to play anymore, man. I'm loaded, dude. That's why, like Izzy being as active as he is and having that money, insane, dude. So dope.
Real martial arts.
Because you won't see guys as active either. You'll see guys still doing the work, but not like they did when they were coming up. You'll see them, they fight once a year, maybe once every 18 months, once they get paid. Izzy, active, dude. Does it for the love of the game.
and
Those
goes
guys are
after the
rare.
people that just going after
Whoever. He's like, that guy next, that guy next. UFC didn't want Strickland. Give me him. Guarantee you I beat him. Because word is the UFC didn't want Strickland to get the title shot because obviously he's a liability on the mic. The guy speaks his truth.
Yeah.
So the UFC was like, if this guy becomes champ, we're losing all sponsorship. I'm pretty sure word on the street is he called Dan, was like, I guarantee you I beat this guy. You don't have to worry about him. And that's how the fight got happened. That's why it took so long to get done too. People were saying visa and all this. No, UFC didn't want it to happen. Izzy went, hey, real quick, guarantee I beat this guy up. Just do it. UFC went, okay. He wins though. We're screwed.
That'd be trippy. That'd be such a trip. Did we discuss the Conor voice thing already off air or on air?
No.
Okay.
I talked a little bit with Case before this.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead.
So Conor's saying he did this voice thing again, which is very awkward. And then he's saying that they're not going to let me fight in December. They're taking away my livelihood or something like that.
Livelihood. I was like, dude, you have $300 million in the bank.
I know, it's funny. But yeah. It's deleted, but
It
here's
says
some of the
they're
stuff
not
there.
they're not going to let me fight. They're not, meaning USADA and UFC brass.
Yeah.
In December, ladies and gentlemen, you seen what happened to Chris Weidman? Imagine what that injury is, and to be kept. I feel like I've been kept from my livelihood. I'm not going to air grievances. I'm going to bite down and soldier on. I'm ready. Yeah, I wanted to announce December 16th. I've given everything, so you know it's not going to happen. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But anyway, I hold the power. We're just going to keep doing our thing. Like I said, I'm in a great spot. I'll see you soon, hopefully early next year. Please, God, come on, Ari Emanuel. I'm ready. Yeah, December 16th. I'm ready if anyone wants to go. Yeah. It's tough being such a Conor fan and you see this, you know. The other thing I didn't like, and I if anyone noticed, so Ian Machado Garry, his hero is Conor McGregor. And there's a lot of similarities there. Conor's always gave props to Ian when he's fought and built him up. And obviously if Conor co-signs you, it's a big deal and he gets more followers, more traction. Conor didn't say anything about him. And I think it's because, you know, Ian signed with that Better, which is Jake Paul's betting site. He signed with Better, and I think, you know, Conor views that as competition or whatever, doesn't like him. So he just didn't give any shine to Ian Machado Garry, which it's like, come on, dude, business is business. I can understand if Conor had his own betting site and Gary turned that down and went with Jake, then yeah, you're like, dude, what are you talking about? We're fucking Irish brothers and you go with the enemy. But if you don't have your own gambit, like let's say you took on, let's say Nate Diaz had his own whiskey. It's called whatever it is, real as it is whiskey, and he signed with him over proper, then I get not say anything. But you know, the business, dude, it's money.
Yeah.
Ian's a young kid with a family. He has to get his where he can get it where you fit in, you know? So that kind of steered me the wrong way. Also, whenever, you know, this was Suga's night. And Conor usually tries to step on, like, nope, don't forget about me, you know? He kind of did that here, but not to the fullest extent. But, you know, it was Suga's night. Suga's kind of he's the new breed. The new wave is here, you know? And he's pretty fucking talented, and he's pretty goddamn good on the mic too, you know? So, I don't know. The Conor stuff bums me out.
Those voice notes are so weird.
Yeah, they're always awkward.
They're kind of goofy, yeah.
Yep.
I know, you love everything Conor does, dude.
I defend him too. I love Conor, but it's tough.
I just wonder what's going on. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Well, check this out. JDS is looking even more jacked right now. And you see his abs through his shirt right here?
God, I wish I had the same acai he was on right now. Dude, him versus Verdum is going to be something nutsos. Yeah. Because it's Gamebred's bare knuckle. It's not bare knuckle boxing, y'all. It's bare knuckle MMA against Verdum, who's also on the same acai. Take my money, dude. This thing is nutso. September 8th, too.
Yeah.
He is jacked.
Yeah, dude.
Good for them.
That's the same night you and Conor are doing it.
Covina, yeah. Otherwise, we would probably done a companion for it. Well, maybe, right?
Well, that is pretty much it, dude.
Those were good. You have a UFC fight night going down in Singapore this Saturday. It's at 5 a.m. Pacific time. So, but the main card starts at 5 a.m.?
I mean, that's what it says here.
So I'm just going to record it. Well, I wake up at 6. So it's not the end of the deal. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm up at 5:36. So shit, I'll be watching it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm not waking up.
It'll probably start at like 7.
I'm up anyway. Yeah. The main card starts at 5 a.m.?
5 a.m., but then the main event will probably, what, 7 or 8?
We
maybe?
could, baby.
Yeah.
I'll watch that thing live. Eat my Cheerios with my kiddos and my undies. Anthony Smith, Ryan Spahn. That's a rematch there. Giga's fighting Alex Kiris. That's a good fight. Aaron Blanchfield, that's a big one. Santos, that's a big one in the flyweight division. You got heavyweights. You just got to hope those early fights don't go fast, because then, you know, I'll be up though. It's all good, baby. I'll be up for this.
Yeah. It's a fun card.
Your main event, you got Max Holloway versus Korean Zombie. You know, speaking of sacrifices, speaking of beatdowns, you can never, oh my God, Max Holloway's a minus 850. Plus 520. This is one of those fights where I'm like, I'll take Max Holloway, and then Korean Zombie somehow like clips him. Like, oh, you got that one wrong, Schaub. You're always wrong. I went 4 for 6, you idiot. You didn't call Max Holloway beating Korean Zombie, though. Nope, sure didn't. I think Max Holloway's going to pepper his Korean face into North Korea. That's what I think. His face can go from south to north. That's what I think's going to happen.
Gotta believe.
You got to believe, Jen. You want to bet on it?
This time I'm gonna step away.
Hey, this fight's so fucked up. This fight's so messed up.
I know. But
The Korean Zombie asked for it.
He's been one. Yeah, he's been one, Max. And Max wanted Korean, or Korean Zombie.
I'm Team Max all day. I'm Team Anthony Smith all day. Yeah, I mean, I'll tune in. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch a sacrifice in the morning of Saturday. I'll watch that. It's either that or morning cartoons with the kiddos.
Yeah, should be a fun fight.
Sorry, kiddos, no cartoons today. We're going to watch Korean Zombie get annihilated. Enjoy your Cheerios in blood this morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is.
That it?
That's it.
That was a fun one, man. UFC's popping right now. Covina, September 8th. That's at the Laugh Factory in Covina. Great new club up there. But it's me and Brian Callen together for the first time in a hot second. It's me and Brian co-headline Covina. 2 shows, I think 7 and 9:30 or something like that. But 2 shows only on Friday, September 8th in Covina. Because September 9th, we're doing a fight campaign with Mr. Joe Rogan. And then September 21st through the 23rd, one of my favorite clubs, Spokane, Washington. Love Spokane. And then I'll be at Skankfest in Vegas to end September 29th through October 1st. We have a bunch of dates being announced probably this week, but we have Niagara Falls November 4th through the 5th. Those tickets go on sale Friday for Niagara Falls casino out there. I guess I go check out Niagara Falls. That's what you do there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a casino out in Niagara Falls, New York, but I will be out there. But we have, refresh my memory, we have Iowa coming up, Des Moines, Iowa in October, and then in December we have Chicago. I haven't been to Chicago in a hot second, so I'll be in my Cubs jersey out there in Chicago. I'll be in my Iowa Hawkeyes gear in Iowa in October. But Covina, you're up first, then Spokane, Skankfest, Vegas, Niagara Falls, Iowa, Chicago. That's to close out the year. That's it, kids. Oh, update on my son. I posted about it on my social media. Made the team, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
Operation
Congrats.
Commitment Summer Baseball went down. I tried not to put any pressure on him. Didn't want him to realize how much anxiety I had, but he got it done, man. So shout out to the little dude. He'll look back on this and realize I was really stressed out about it. But yeah, he did it, man.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Love you. See you around the way. Thursday, I'm at the Laugh Factory. I'll be doing spots all around town. All right. Love you guys. Till next time, I'm out.